Hello, chaps. Greetings, fellow Fattercasters. I apologise, I'm not properly attired tonight. I'm not in my usual Friday live stream garb of the Fattercasters t-shirt because it's in the laundry. There's nothing more, don't try reading any meaning into it. It's in the laundry, basically, and because it got curry spilt down it last week, and it went through the laundry once, and the curry was still kind of visible, so it's been through the laundry, or will be going through the laundry again. So that's it. Yes, here we are again. Another Friday. Rolls around quick again, doesn't it? I've got some news for you tonight. I've got some, I normally have a pad here with some stuff on to talk about. Some weeks, not very much, but I have got a little bit of news for you tonight, so I'm going to be letting you know what's going on in the world of the John Robson Guitar YouTube channel. So yes, hopefully it might be of interest to a couple of you. we shall see. And now think of something to talk about. I know what we'll talk about. We'll see who's first in. That's usually what we do around about this time of day, isn't it? But before I do that, let's wet the whistle a little bit. Cheers, everyone. Still just on the week stuff, the Carlsberg Green. I normally say that it's just because I only drink on a weekend now, but I've had a hectic week, and I must admit my resolve did falter. There was Wednesday especially, I was absolutely, utterly frazzled by the time I knocked off at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. So I allowed myself a couple, three, four, let's call it 5 or 6. Well, actually it was 8. But, there you go. Needs must. I see we've got Grandpa Joe first through the door this week. I don't think we've ever had Grandpa Joe first in. Congratulations, Joe. Then we've got Dave Fiendish, David James. Fiend Tunes is in, so is Rubbish Guitar Bloke, Auto Again, One Rent to Kill. And there's Joe back again. Cheers, Fattercasters. John, he always gives my Patreon a shout out. John has a great Patreon site, lots of excellent info, and don't forget twice a month Zoom chat with John and fellow Fattercasters. Yes, indeed. The link is in the description to all my videos, and the more the merrier. Then we've got Francis. Cheers, Joe, by the way. Then we've got Francis Chambers, Pablo Hank, Paul Trainer, BSC, Tom Clark, and who is a Patreon subscriber. Thank you so much. Paul Trainer, as usual, couple of quid in the tip jar. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated, mate. Then we've got Anton, Stephen Hedger, Johnny Random, Peter Collins, Ian Clark, who is hopefully home. I will be listening in the car. A stalwart of the stream here. We've got Balder64. Hello, back from Bulgaria and beers. Beers have been in the fridge for 2 weeks, so suitably chilled. Roll on Crackerjack. Yes. International viewers won't get that. Crackerjack was a kids' TV show. It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. It's Crackerjack. There we go. Yes, happy memories. Ed Stewpot Stewart in my day was the host of that. Whatever happened to him? Then we've got John Ross, Dr. Gomez, One Vincent Brennan, Amadeus is in, so is Peter Hall, and Ben Allmark. There's Ingrid Malcolm, Spillet, Dave Fiendish. I've said you already, but you're a Patreon subscriber as well. Thank you so much, mate. Cylon Hybrid is in, so is Mark Kerno, Johnny D, Doc Alders. Friday means Fattercaster time. Cold beer out of the fridge and a warm welcome from Helen and Ian in a dull Sheffield. It's not been a bad day today here. Mrs. Robson has been out selling jewellery on the market. By the way, if you're interested in checking out some of her jewellery, go on to Facebook or kind of Twitter, Facebook, and look for the Doghouse Designs, and you'll find my wife's lovely jewellery that she makes. She's been out selling it on the market today, and it's been a lovely day for her. Then we've got Austin Barrett, we've got Peter Williamson, Chris Otterwell, and Cal Texper. There's Thomas Mulvaney, Dave Lewis, Cal B and the Rocco Cat, and there's Peter S. Rex Amatiku is playing his acoustic Yamaha FS9R this week. It means nothing to me, I'm afraid. It's not just that I'm not really, well, I have a couple of acoustic guitars, nothing against acoustic guitars, but the main thing is I always struggle to remember any guitar that is just like a model number. For some reason, I remember a model name better than just some alphanumeric code that it's given. Anyone else like that, or is that just me? Then we got MW Card, William Forrest, Robin Fawcett, and Brad Dowell. Session guitar legend Gary Shaw is with us once again. Nice to see you, mate. And who else we got? We've got Moon's Guitars. We've got Nathan. We've got Greg H. and Steve Cassidy, who's from a pitch black wife. Is that Weifang or Weifang in China? Off visiting the in-laws. Are you again, mate? Nice one. Can you hear Dougal? Dougal's kicking off downstairs. There's Mr. Blue Sofa Songs, and I'm Not Creative as well. Mr. Chris is in, so is Guitar Bass Dude. And Cylon Hybrid is saying, John, I'm breaking up. Anyone else suffering with buffering? I don't know that there's anything I can do about that from this end. Stream is very glitchy, voice is breaking up, bit stuttery. A lot of people are saying very patchy audio here. Nothing I can do about that at this end, I'm afraid. What it sometimes to do is to refresh the page, and that is something which often solves it. So, yes, don't know, there's somebody at the door. I think it's somebody's Amazon delivery. We often get a lot of deliveries for people that aren't us for some reason, delivery drivers that can't find the correct address. A lot of people saying that the audio is wonky. Nothing I can do about that at this end, I'm afraid. It's buffering worse than a Boss pedal. Sounds dodgy. Yeah, I'm getting the message, mate, but there's nothing I can do. Let me see if I can just go into the audio settings and have a look. Here we go. No, I've got the correct microphone selected. Everything is as it should be. At this end, it's just obviously the internet doing what the internet does. Let's see if we can... Dave Fiendish is saying, just refreshed, all good. That seems to be the answer. Refresh your screen and that should sort it out. Everything is tickety-boo at this end. And anyway, I'll have a drink while you all refresh the page. Yeah, Paul the 64 sounds like Mr. Edge from YouTube is playing John's vocal cords. Sounds like Buckethead's guitars. Audio makes you sound like a northern lad. Well, I can do that without the microphone. Again, we'll soldier on. It's happened twice before in the 5 years of the stream that things have got to the point where it's not viable to continue, but I don't want to chuck the towel in just yet. I can see that the viewing figures are dropping. It's not looking particularly healthy, but we'll see what we can do. No luck on the refresh. Jay Young is saying, yes, buffering problems this morning. I'll keep on going, but if it gets to a point where it's down to double figures of viewers or something, then it's going to be a busted flush, I'm afraid. It has happened twice before in 5 years, so I don't know what the cause is. It just sometimes very, very, very occasionally happens. Anyway, I'm pouring a beer. Let's see if I can refresh myself, even if we can't refresh the screen. And Doc Alder's saying, refreshed and restarted, no change, still intermittent audio and some misaligned video as well. I don't know what to suggest, chaps. Carry on, matron. John is speaking through a bit crusher pedal. I don't. Everything is. There's nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid. It's just the internet doing what the internet sometimes does. I've got a strong connection at this end, You know, I'm just looking here. Yeah, absolutely rock solid connection at this end for him. Right, okay, we are aware of the problems. We will soldier on and see what happens. Excuse me, there's my phone pinging now. What the hell's going on here? Right, okay, that was our food turning up 2 hours early. You know, so we will we'll have to see if they deliver at the correct time. Anyway, let's tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. Sunday's video is going to be the review of the full review of the guitar that you saw me pootling around with yesterday. That lovely Firebird is a guitar that I've been curious about for many a year. Well, is it a case of never meet your heroes? We'll find out on Sunday when I do the full usual kind of treatment of my sort of review, the demo tune and weights and measures and all that sort of stuff. Then Monday's video is one that I've been meaning to do for a while, but I've been getting put off and kind of distracted and doing other things. How to jam with other people, basically. If you're at a jam night or, kind of an open mic night or whatever, and you're getting up and you're playing a solo, and then what to do when somebody else is taking a solo. How to kind of play sympathetically to their soloing, basically. How to play second fiddle, really. Cal B's saying, was there a good response to your challenge? And Mr. Chris is saying, super chat received. Mr. Chris, yes, Mr. Chris has chucked a couple of quid in the tip jar. Sorry, I often miss these things that turn up in the chat because I'm too busy blethering, which is kind of the point of being here. So basically how to jam. That's Monday's video. Tuesday, my top 5 rhythm guitarists. Wednesday, another lesson on rhythm. This week we are dealing with the phenomenon of swing rhythms. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And then Thursday is yet another first impressions video. I'm sorry, I'm just... Dave Fiendish is saying, John, my super chat hasn't arrived. No, I'm just having a look here, mate. No, I've got a couple of quid from Mr. Chris and a couple of quid from Paul Trainer. Yours hasn't come through. I expect it is the tech problems that we're having. Doc Alders is saying, Malcolm Young may well be on there. Might be. Just saying. The thing is, when I'm doing these live streams, I'm telling you what's coming up on the coming Tuesday. You got to appreciate that I made that video 6-7 weeks ago, so I often forget what's on the list. Austin Barrett, what you saying there, mate? John, hi. I have 4 budget guitars that cost me about 350 quid each with mods. They're okay, but I got my Gordon Smith out with a flyer trem after 6 months, still in tune and sounds so much better. Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Gordon Smith. There might be another one of those arriving here at some point. I don't know. Silent Hybrid's got to be the Russians. Oh, you mean the glitchy, stuttery, buffery kind of thing. A golden rule I always think is never blame something on a conspiracy that can equally be as explained by incompetence. And don't blame a conspiracy when you can blame a cock-up for something, because usually if stupidity is the answer, if incompetence is the answer, then that is often a safe bet to blame it on that. Let's have a look, see what I've missed in the... David Collins is saying, R.I.P. John Lodge of the Moody Blues. I hadn't heard that, mate, but yes. Must have been a fair old age, though, because, gosh, the Moody Blues have been around forever, haven't they? You know, Theme Tunes is saying Bruce Welsh, maybe. Go Now says Balder 64. Well, I will if you insist, mate. Anyway, I said I had some news for you. How's the quality of the stream at the moment? Is it any better? Is it any worse? How are we doing? Mr. Chris says 81 years old. Dear me, I didn't really realise he was that old. Still the same, says Rent to Kill. Oh dear me. Well, we may wrap it up early this week then, because if it's going to be, I don't want to, be sat here sounding like Norman Collier and being kind of inflicting a bad quality stream on you. Oh, hang on, this PC's just turned itself on. Let me sort that out. Come on. Now it won't turn off. Sleep. Oh dear me, there, finally. Malcolm Spillett saying still stuttering and buffering. Peter Hall saying it's not too bad, better than before. Well, if I need to wrap it in early, if it gets too bad, we'll wrap it in early. Anyway, what's the news I've got for you then? Well, there are some changes happening specifically to my Patreon site. There are going to be some extra benefits. Basically, is the long and the short of it. First of all, the Tier 2 members, $6 a month, get a weekly reaction video on a Sunday to whatever musical performance has been suggested. I've got a load of suggestions. I just pick them off a list and choose one at random each week. That goes out every Sunday to the Tier 2 subscribers. Well, that and the blog that I write every Friday, that's going to be available to everyone, to all tiers, to the Tier 1 people as well. I just want to kind of widen the audience for that little bit. And in case you're on Tier 2, you think, well, hang on, that's half my benefits gone. Fear not, because the Tier 2 subscribers are going to be getting early access to most, if not all, of the YouTube content. Essentially, what I do is I make the YouTube videos 5, 6, sometimes 7 or 8 weeks in advance, and then just put them up on YouTube, and then they're scheduled to go out live on the due date. Well, as soon as I've made them, they're going to be going up on Patreon for the Tier 2 subscribers there. So you get early access, and obviously early access to any of the tabs and jam tracks and that sort of stuff that is included with whatever that video is about. And in case you are thinking, well, yeah, there's occasionally you put stuff out that I wouldn't mind seeing, but I don't want to kind of tie myself into a regular monthly subscription, then I'm also going to be introducing the facility for you to just, without signing up for any no ongoing commitment, nothing like that. You can sign up, you can just log in and purchase individual pieces of content. It might be a video, it might be the video plus the tabs and what have you, and the jam tracks. I think I've got a price in mind at the moment of a couple of quid per post on Patreon. So you can sign up for £3 a month and get all the stuff that most people get. You can sign up for £6 a month or $6 a month and get the early access and everything, and or you can buy individual bits and pieces, as they become available without signing up for anything. Peter Hall is saying, I'm Tier 2 and I could care less if the Tier 1 see them. It's still the best value Patreon and Guitar YouTube. Thank you. Dave Fiendish is saying, all good here, sir. I'm noticing the viewing figures are creeping back up again. So It looks like we're riding out the turbulence. Boulder64 is saying the stream isn't bad. I'm hearing the odd stutter. If I could wait 20 minutes for an A4 screen download of Gentleman's Picks in the mid-90s, I can put up with this. Yes, Gentleman's Special Interest illustrations, I think that we euphemistically refer to them as. Austin Barrett saying, sounds like a good idea. Tom Clark, it's just about bearable. If it starts sounding like Keir Starmer, I'm off. Yeah, if I start sounding like Keir Starmer, somebody shoot me. I don't do politics, do I? But, saying that you don't like the chap is hardly a divisive opinion at the moment, is it? Anyway, we won't go any further down that road. Peter Hall saying, bring back dial-up. Let's have a look, see what else I've missed in the chat while I've been blethering. Gary Shaw, it's like dealing with the Russian jamming signal on Luxembourg radio 1972. Yes, that used to be a thing, didn't it? I used to be into amateur radio when I was a teenager. Yeah, I was fun to hang out with then, wasn't I? And there was this Russian jamming signal called the Woodpecker that used to really kind of disrupt communications back then. You've just reminded me of that. Let's have a look, see what else I missed. Dave Lewis is saying, John, did Johnny send you the Hank and the Shadows pictures from 1960s Thunderbirds? Yes, he did, mate, yes. Carry on, John, as this introduced immediate effect. Unbelievably, you still make sense. Well, maybe it's the stuttering and the buffering that's making me make sense, mate. Maybe. What are you saying there, Bob? I've got to read this one. Viz top tip. Porn lovers? No internet? Simply draw a sheet of paper slowly drawn over the centre spread of Escort for that online onanistic experience. Yes. Yeah, okay. We won't go too far down that road either, as it happens. Right, so let's have another look in the chat. I've been speaking a lot. Artist Bubba's saying, I'm sticking it out like a bad Poison concert. Was there any such thing as a good Poison? Yeah, they were. Just the difference between Poison and Spinal Tap is very difficult to discern, isn't it? Jerry White is saying, John, £2,000 for the new Herman Lee PRS SE. Well, I know one person that isn't going to be, that isn't even remotely curious about it. That would be me. Yeah, I mean, Herman Lee is an incredible shredding guitar player. You can't take that away from him. But Dragon Force are not my cup of tea in any way, shape or form, and neither is a guitar that has a Floyd Rose. So you $2,000 for a guitar that has nickel frets, a Floyd Rose, and is the signature model of an artist that I have absolutely no interest in at all. It's just, that one is one I'll be quite happy to give a massive body swerve to, not remotely interested. And I suppose that the driving point behind your question is, do I think it's worth $2,000? Well, if people are prepared to pay it, then yes, it is. There's a big difference between saying, well, I wouldn't pay that for it, but if somebody else will, then, that means that it is worth that amount, because that's the way that, the marketplace works. Dave Fiendish is saying, John, is Tier 1 £3.99? I don't know, mate. Patreon won't let me price things in pounds. All I know is it's $3 plus $3, whatever that equates to in UK sterling, at whatever the exchange rate is at any given time, and then the powers that be have slapped VAT on top of that, which is what's at 20% at the moment. So it's I have very little control over the final pricing, which is why I decided when I was setting up the Patreon to price it conservatively. I didn't want to be one of these people who think, what? How much? The old adage that it's easier to charge 1 million people £1 than it is to charge one person £1 million was kind of my logic behind it. Jet Set 95 is saying, I do want a Floyd for all the wonderful Eddie licks, but can get an EVH for half the price of that PRS Clio. Yes, indeed. I just had, in my formative years as a guitar player, too many bad experiences with locking trems that it put me off them for life. It would be different if my style of playing, if I have such a thing, was heavily reliant upon tremolo kind of antics, but it isn't. It's just for me, like the guitars that I had with Floyd Roses on. Once you'd kind of spent half an hour kind of the novelty of doing a dive bomb down the slack or that squealy fifth fret pinched harmonic, and kind of making that holler like a banshee. Once you got sort of over the novelty of that, I would never use it again. Tier 2 is $5.50 a month. John says, Peter Hall. That's what it. That's what it says. That's what it obviously costs in the UK. Dave Lewis is saying, why not do it like Colin Guitaristas and do away with Patreon? Because I don't have the infrastructure to set up the kind of the structure basically to set up a subscription based site with stuff that's behind a paywall. I do know that Colin at Guitaristas has worked for many years in some sort of production capacity and obviously has that experience, or I don't know how he does it, but when it's like I don't own, I don't have the facility to be able to kind of broadcast videos, which is why I rely upon a service like YouTube to do all of the heavy lifting. It's, I don't know, maybe the technology will make it in the same way as, once upon a time, if you wanted to record an album, you needed to have a record label backing because you needed access to a recording studio and a record pressing plant. You don't need that anymore. Maybe it will evolve very quickly in the direction where you don't need a service like Patreon or YouTube to do what I do, but we ain't there yet. Yes. Let's have a look. The voice distortion seems to be quite random. Okay, well, it's $3 is £2.25 in sterling. Yeah, and then, as I say, you've got to apply VAT, which for international viewers, VAT is the UK equivalent of what I think in the US is called sales tax. Which is, it just, I remember it didn't used to be applied on Patreon, but then it sort of did. I made the announcement at the time that was what was happening. Which is a few years ago now then. Let's have what are you saying there, Jay How Young? A funny comment I saw about the Herman Lee SE was all the specs and prices of an Ibanez Prestige at a fraction of the quality. Yeah, that's probably knocking it a little bit because I've never played a PRS guitar where you could question the quality, and I mean, given that we know that the Herman Lee PRS SE is built in the Cort factory, I'm pretty sure that Cort probably make guitars for Ibanez as well. Because I only found out very recently that Ibanez have never owned a guitar factory. They've always kind of had the builds done by, like they've always had the building part of it subcontracted. I only found that out like in the last couple of years. I think it was on the probably from watching a 5 Watt World video. Vincent Brennan is saying, stream okay here now. And Francis Chambers, stream is cleared now, John. Well, that's nice to know. As I say, the viewing figures went from, normally I'm up around a very, very good live stream. I'm kind of topping 200. But that's only when like there's a guitar unboxing or something on the stream. Usually it's kind of 150 to 200, and that's where we kind of started off, and then it dropped down to 80 odd when people were saying, "Oh, it's buffering, it's stuttering, what's going on, what's wrong?" And now it's creeping back up towards 120. So we've weathered the storm, it seems. Jay Aoyong is saying, yes, it's true that the quality is up there with the best. Just a hilariously scathing comment I wanted to share. Yeah, fair enough, Jay Aoyong. Yeah, it's it is what it is. It's not a guitar that I am remotely interested in, and even if it was my dream guitar, just the thing of having, rather than the racing pigeon inlays, having the racing dragon inlays up the fretboard, that is just. I can just about live with the PRS racing pigeons these days, but dragons on the fretboard, no. No, that's, I mean, I was never, let's say, one of the, we don't really have a word for it in the UK, but the Americans have got a great word for it, a jock. When I was at school, jock over here means a Scottish person, but you know what I mean. The cool kind of popular, kind of athletic, and perhaps academically gifted, kind of, handsome young dude. I was never that guy when I was at school, but I wasn't the nerdiest guy either. The nerdiest ones were always the ones that were playing Dungeons and Dragons and having long discussions about Tolkien and that kind of stuff, and just dragons on a fretboard. That would put me in that camp, I feel, and that's not somewhere I want to be. Let's have a look. Chris Otterwell, what are you saying there, mate? I've got 2 Ibanez guitars and both are excellent quality. I've never had a problem with the Floyd Rose on the RG550. I had one on mine, mate. Admittedly difficult to set up, but once sorted, it's fine. And I think therein lies my problem. I was never able to set up a Floyd Rose. It's all right if you've got a team of mechanics working on it, if you're Richie Sambora or Steve Vai or something like that, and you've got, you've got a guitar tech that knows what they're doing and can kind of get it dialed in absolutely perfectly. But I didn't have that, and so it was all down, and it was like, hang on, this bloody tremolo, its main selling point is that it's got rock solid tuning stability, and I can't get the damn thing in tune. It's and well, now you know what I like now. It's just nail it all down and give me a fixed bridge. Thank you very much. Even when I had the PRS that I most recently got rid of, the SE20, the CE 24. That, I mean, the trem on that was absolutely bulletproof. You could do all the dive bomb stuff on that, and it wasn't locking. So it's like, okay, now that problem of tuning stability on a trem has been solved. Why do we need a Floyd Rose? I see we've got my pal Spencer in there's Heafley 1. I've been watching some videos of your bandmate. If anybody is in the Teesside area around Redcar or anything like that, I know a couple of you are, and you see a band advertised called Marauders, that's Heafley's band. Go and see them. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. Proper good old-fashioned rock band that look the part, sound the part, and just play with a load of a load of that, enthusiasm and grit, and they really punch it out. So Marauders, go and see them if you get the chance. They're on the circuit round the Teesside area, and well worth a night out. Rexomatic is saying, have you received some responses to your request for lead guitar over backing tracks video this week? I've received 3. I've received 3 responses. So, you know, everyone who's entered has got a 1 in 3 chance of winning. You know, I won't lie. I am a bit disappointed at the response. What I have had is a lot of emails from people saying it's a cool backing track, but I can't figure out how to play over it. So there's a video on that coming up in the near future. Well, I say near future, 6 or 7 weeks in the future, relatively near. You know, and so that's it. Well, sorry, something just caught my eye there. Heafley's saying, how's the Destroyer doing for you? I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but it is. I got it out of the case the other day and thought, oh, this is rather nice. But then I remembered it had been set up by James at AgriJag, so of course it is. I haven't got it out and done even the first impressions video with it yet because. Well, work. You know, it's just I've had loads of other things to finish off. Ian Clark saying, "Don't knock Dungeons and Dragons." Well, you know, each to their own, mate. Each to their own. It was never my particular penchant. Anyway, we're getting a bit further into the stream than I thought we were. So let's go to this folder in here. And in this folder in here, we've got this folder. And in that folder, when it opens up, thank you. Come on, Windows, put your back into it. We've got some guitar pictures that have been sent in. I will admit that there is one chap this week who has done much of the heavy lifting. There's no viewer's tale this week, by the way, because I've run out. So if you have any pictures of guitars that you want to share with me, doesn't have to be a picture of a guitar. It could be a bass. It could be your pedal board. It could be your amp. It could be anything that you use to make a glorious musical racket with. Then send the pictures over to me, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. And, you know, we'll have a look at them. Same if you've got any kind of amusing anecdotes of your time in the musical world. I used to say, it, you know, kind of your tales of meeting the rich and famous, but it could be anything, just any anecdote, anything that is, you know, even remotely funny. And you can kind of gild the lily a little bit, you know, just for comedic effect. As long as it makes a good yarn, basically, that's all we're interested in. Anyway, let's have a look at some guitars. As I say, there is one chap who is doing most of the heavy lifting this week. He's sent in an absolute metric shit ton, or am I allowed to say that? I just have, of pictures, and you've seen a few of his before. This is John North, and he has quite a penchant for Telecasters, it has to be said. This is one of his parts casters, fat 50s neck with 7 1/4 inch radius, vintage tuners, bone nut, Fender Bullet 9s, string through, guitar build body with 2 coats of Faro and Ball house paint, rolled, then 2 coats of nitro, Fender bridge and saddles, 51 vintage pickups, single ply pickguard, standard electrics but tone on bridge only. Okay, never seen that on a Telecaster before. Electro socket with switchcraft jack. Let's have a closer look at that rolled paint finish. Yes, now you can see actually that looks. That texture that the rollering has given it actually looks pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, that's food for thought. Then another parts caster, guitar fetish neck, vintage tuners, bone nut, cheap body, Tone Rider pickups. Oh, I do like a Tone Rider pickup. Standard electronics, no tone on the neck. So tone on the bridge only again on this. Is that... You see, I quite like the tone control on the neck pickup because you can back it off and make it sound a bit more like a hollow body jazz guitar, especially with with any single coil neck pickup, but especially with a tele neck pickup. And another John North Telecaster. This is the Squire Sonic, standard top loader bridge, good sustain. Nice one, mate. Is that the... No, it was the debut that was the Amazon one. The Sonic is the kind of revamped or repopped Bullet series, isn't it? You can't go wrong with a good old cheap telly, can you? And another one, a vintage V75. I've got one identical to that, mate, and what a fine guitar it is as well. Courtesy of a very generous chap in Northern Ireland called Jim, who sent me, well, a few guitars just because he's a generous chap. And that is a properly nice guitar. You pick it up and you think, why do I need anything else? It's as that is the easily the equal of a Fender Player Series telly any day of the week. And another one. This is from John North. This is his G&L ASAT. Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, that has those adjustable pickups, doesn't it? Where you can kind of wind the pole pieces. Well, you can do that on any pickup, but it's specially designed so you can kind of dial in the tone that you want. Yes, don't think I've ever played one of those, not to my memory. And another John North guitar, Squire Sonic Telecaster, another one, but this one's been modded with Frailing vintage telly pickups, Graphtec ratio tuners, a direct replacement for the originals, string-through conversion, and Fender Bullet 9s. Yep, that guitar there, just the look of that reminds me of, in the latter part of his time on this planet, the wonderful Mick Ronson used to play a Telecaster that was very much that colour. I say that because I was just watching the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, bits and pieces of it the other day, and when him and Mick Ronson came out and did the version of All the Young Dudes, I'm pretty sure it was on a Telecaster that looked very, very much like that one. And here, not a John North one, this is Len McIver. And this is obviously a press clipping from 1985, where he was playing his 20th anniversary Les Paul Custom. Yes, it's a wonder you stood upright there, mate, because they were not known for their svelte. They were kind of quite the boat anchor, weren't they? Les Paul Customs, especially of that particular vintage. But yeah, nice to see you were getting some press attention back then, mate. And then this is, usually it's viewers' guitars, but this is some snaps taken on a visit to the Gibson. Excuse me, I don't know what's up with my mouth at the moment. A visit to the Gibson Guitar Garage or the Gibson Garage by Mark Cardy. Some lovely looking guitars there, yeah, that's definitely, yeah. What you do, I imagine that's going to be a fantastic day out going to see all that lot there. But for crying out loud, leave your credit card at home and don't, whatever you do, turn up with a credit card after a visit to the pub. That could lead to, some serious regrets the next day. Then what have we got here? These are Michael Davis's guitars. What have we got here? This looks very much like, I'm guessing that's a parts caster we've got there. And then we've got, I'm going to say that's a made in Mexico standard series Strat. We've got an Epiphone. Is that an Epiphone Dot? Did they have that big sort of headstock on the Epiphone Dots? I can't remember. It doesn't look like a Sheraton or something. And then what's this out? This looks like a dinky little travel guitar down here. Nice little brood of guitars. You're going to cover some fairly broad sonic territory with a collection like that, aren't you? You've got the big fat humbucker sound. You've got the Knopflery, Strat tones, Hendrix, all that kind of stuff. You can crank out some chicken picking country licks. And then when you just want to kind of, go backpacking or something, you've got the travel guitar as well. Lovely collection this week. I think that's your lot, everyone. Ardis Bubba's saying, this beer is making me thirsty. In the words of Smokey Robinson. Was it Smokey Robinson? Yeah, it was Smokey Robinson. I'll second that emotion. Here we go. And let's just do this perfect pour, There we go. Let's just look at that. Not even the remotest bit flaky, just the right amount of head. Mr. Chris is saying the Travel is a Washburn Rover. I thank you, Mr. Chris. I knew that headstock shape was something that I should recognise, but it was on the tip of my tongue. But it just it wouldn't materialise, as it were. Let's have a look. El Duderino is saying, "Hi John, I wanted to give a shot at that D major solo jam. How long do we have to submit it? It's open-ended at the moment, mate. You know, I'm certainly not going to call the competition closed when I've only had 3 entries. So I'm thinking maybe let's give it at least until Halloween. You know, so that's, you know, back end of this, well, so the very end of this month, isn't it? And then we'll assess the situation then. So no rush at the moment, mate. Let's have a look. What else we got? Dave Fiendish is saying, "Can you send me a link so I can upgrade? I can't find how to do it." You're talking about the Patreon thing, mate. I think you just need to kind of sign in and then choose your tier, mate. I think isn't that how it's done? I don't. Quite obviously, I've never had to subscribe to my Patreon, and the only other Patreon that I ever subscribed to was our dear departed friend, China Guitar Skeptic, and I can't bring myself to, even though he's long departed, I can't bring myself to cancel that subscription. I just can't do it. So, you know, every month, you know, his Patreon payment goes to, well, I guess his family who are left. You know, I just can't bring myself to cancel that subscription. That's the only other, and he only ever had 1 tier. So I don't know is the short answer, mate. Anton is saying the link to John's Patreon is in the video descriptions. I can put it in the chat, just the generic link to the Patreon. Let's do that now. And no, it's not in there, is it? It's in here. Yes. Navigating the labyrinth of my folder system. Where are we? Where is the Patreon link? There it is. So Control C and Control V. There is the link to my Patreon. Dave Lewis is saying, John, can you please check your emails? I've just sent you 2 and would like to know if you got them. I will do. I can do that now. Mate. Keep forgetting that, because I rarely use the email on my phone, because I hate replying to an email on my phone, because I hate typing with my thumb. No, I've got nothing from you, mate. I haven't had an email off you, Dave, in donkeys, really. I don't know why, but I'm not getting emails from you at the moment. Try sending an email to the, because it's still active, the Red Carmageddon email address, redcarnightout@yahoo.com. And maybe it'll get me there. I don't know what it is, but, and you're not the only person who I'm having that problem with, actually, by the way. There's 1 or 2 other people where, and like, yes, I've checked my spam folder, and yes, I've checked, because on Gmail you get all of the things, you get primary and social and updates and, promotions and stuff. It's not landing in there either, mate. You know, I've even checked the spam folder to see if these emails that I'm not getting is landing with all of the the Viagra adverts and emails from Nigerian princes, because they still do happen. Um, where are we? So no, Dave, I haven't had an email from you. Where are we? Let's have a look and see what else we've got to talk about. El Duderino is saying, okay, thanks for the response. That works. Having fun with it so far. By the way, if anybody is wanted to have a crack at that viewers jam thing, then I don't care if it's a single take or if it's something that you've kind of comped together from various takes. I don't care, because let's face it, we all do it, don't we? We all kind of think, oh, yeah, I screwed up in bar 67, so I'm just going to drop in and do that again. But if you want to kind of just fix it a little bit, or as I say, have a few goes at it and kind of do a comp take of the best parts kind of put together, then that's absolutely fine. Okay. Johnny D is saying, as a fan of vintage TV, John, here's a video. There's a video of the making of Randall and Hopkirk on YouTube, worth checking out. Yes, I remember. Randall and Hopkirk was one of those shows that I always seemed to be on during the day when I'd, kind of sagged a day off school because I've woken up, I've got a sore throat, I can't go to school today, mother. Usually because I hadn't done some homework that was due to be handed in that day. And, so you get a bowl of Heinz tomato soup, sat in the living room with your dressing gown on, pretending to be ill and watching daytime TV. And that was when it was always Randall and Hopkirk that was on. Speaking of classic TV, it's a show that I bang on about all the time on here, right? Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. Okay, the comedic tale of a bunch of British construction workers who can't find work in the UK in the early 80s, so they go to Germany and work as self-employed contractors over there. Brilliantly scripted comedy, great drama, fantastic show. It's on YouTube. ITV Drama. Just search for ITV Drama and you'll find the channel, and on their channel you will find Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. The first 4 episodes of the first series are up there now. And guess what I'm going to be watching tonight, as I enjoy a beer. We used to get it on a channel called BritBox, but that just sort of disappeared up its own fundament. We don't get that. It used to be bundled in with Amazon Prime, but it just kind of disappeared. So I haven't seen any episodes in a while, so I'm going to watch a couple tonight. Just a brilliantly written TV show. If you're not from the UK, one word of advice, you may need to use the subtitles for parts of it. Dave Lewis is saying Randall and Hopkirk is still on nightly on Freeview Telly. I didn't know. They did that remake, didn't they, which kind of disappeared pretty quickly. It was Reeves and Mortimer were in it, weren't they? Balder 64, Travesty, Eddie Shoestring aired concurrently with The Professionals. Yes, well, if it's a choice between Eddie Shoestring and Bodie and Doyle, The Professionals, I'm always going to go with The Professionals. Again, The Professionals was sort of the British Starsky and Hutch kind of thing, the kind of buddy cop duo kind of thing. So Peter Hall is saying, I've asked Giacomo Tura to do my solo for John's competition. Yeah, I know I said you could cheat, but you can't cheat that much, mate. That's pushing it a bit. Right, let's Dave Lewis saying it's on UK TV. Yeah, I think we've got the streaming service for that. Stevie Mack is saying Tim Spall is amazing in it. Yes, in Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. I've got a mate who comes from that part of the world, and he's probably watching this now, and I'm going to probably get a rude text message off him in a second when I say this, but I always tease him with the Barry quote of West Bromwich and District Sunday Methodist Table Tennis League. You know, I'm just waiting for my phone to ping when he calls me a cheeky see you next Tuesday. I did not know that, Stevie Mac. Guy Pratt's dad was in Randall and Hopkirk. He was the small, dark-haired one. Was he the one that wasn't the ghost? Because I can never remember. Randall and Hopkirk was the one that was dead, wasn't he? And he was like the detective who was the ghost. That was the kind of the there he goes. There he is. Yes. What's he sent me? Yes. See you next Tuesday. Spelt out, well, you know what he's just called me. Yes. Marty Hopkirk. Let's have a look. When they paint the... but it's just Blue Sofa Songs is coming out with a nice reminiscence there of when they paint the hut. Yes. Cylon Hybrid is saying, I bet Dougal has eaten your dinner. No, we sent him. Jackie just texted me and she said they turned up early. So she said, you've turned up at the wrong time. It's not due till 7 o'clock. And she turned him around. So they're bringing it back at 7 o'clock, allegedly, hopefully. If they don't, well, I guess it's let's open the last tin of beans in the cupboard. Mr. Chris is talking about The Prisoner there. Yeah, that's a show I never ever saw. I don't ever remember it being repeated when I was a kid. And I was, I didn't see it because I'm not as old as I sometimes crack on. But it was on in the 60s and I don't remember it from its original run. And what's this? Is he calling me another rude name? No, what the hell was that? I don't know. I'll check that out in a minute. I don't know what that was. We'll find out shortly. Yes, I don't remember the Prisoner. I did watch the remake with Jim Caviezel in it, and it was a bit meh, if I'm honest. So, last in the dying minutes of the stream, that I never thought we'd get this far, to be honest with you. Vincent Brennan saying, see you next Wednesday is a recurring gag by which director? I don't know, mate. I don't know. Let's have a look. What else have we got to fill up the last couple of minutes of the stream? Pete Long is in. My mate Pete comes to me every Wednesday for a guitar lesson, and he's just popped in to say Happy Friday. Pete is he's in the enviable position of, when they started doing lockdown, and I thought, right, well, I'm going to have a pub on YouTube, and we started doing this live stream. Pete went one further and he built a pub in his back garden. He's an ex-sapper, is Pete, and he's got a pub called the Sapper's Arms, proper draft beer and everything in his back garden. You're going to stop me going to the pub? Well, I'm going to build one then. And that's the kind of spirit we like, isn't it? And I think with that, chaps, we're 59 minutes and change into the stream. Let's cut our losses and wrap it up here. Thank you all for turning up and sticking with me this week through thick and thin. We rode out the turbulence and we got there in the end. But now it's time for me to go and play with the wife and give the dog a cuddle, or the other way around. We'll see which way it works out. Thanks for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute bollocks for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.